Okay, well, let's give Pedro a welcome. Pedro, you made it. Glad to see you. Hey, great to see you. So yeah, I mean, I think we have a bunch of Formula One fans here, so I don't think you need much of an introduction.
Yes.
You know, but what I understand, you started racing in 1999.
Yeah, I've been racing all my life basically, and I came into Formula One in '99. My first ever Grand Prix was here in Australia, and I remember I finished P6, sixth position, first point. Back then, I thought, you know, this is not too difficult, Formula One. You know, my first race, I arrived, finished sixth, get a point, and I remember having dinner in the Crown Hotel here with my wife, just the night after the point, the sixth position, and I remember telling her, you know, after all, Formula One is not that difficult. I think it's going to be like the other categories that sooner or later you win. And then after 15 years in Formula One, you know, I told my wife, I think that night I was completely wrong, you know. After that, it just got very difficult to score again. That season, I hardly finished any race. We were very unreliable. And then it's back then when you realize how important the team is. It's not about driving fast, you know. It's a lot more complex. You need the best team closer, you know, I mean, working for you and providing you with the best racing car, not the fastest only, but also the most reliable. And it's a moment in my career that I remember, you know, just thinking, I'm young, I come here, I won all the categories I've ever raced in. I will do the same in Formula One. No, this is a different sport. You know, it's Formula One. It's only the best get here, but not only racing, but also on the engineering side, and mechanics, everything.
Oh yeah. So I'm in the startup game, technical world. You know, and my famous saying is that startups are like the ultimate team sport. Now, I mean, last year you guys had my understanding last year was a great year. 2023 was a good year for the Aston Martin team. So maybe a little bit more about what does it take, you know, in this team sport to get a successful season going. You know, you're coming off a great season, you're heading into 2024, you know.
Yes, I mean, it is, Aston Martin, for example, our team is, we are over 750 people. So it's not only 750 people, you know, when our drivers jump into the car, and when I was racing, I always had this feeling is that you're representing 750 families. So you have to do well, you know, they're providing you the car, but you just have to deliver, because otherwise these people might lose their jobs. In a way, you feel the responsibility, and that's where the pressure is coming from. You know, people ask me, did you feel any pressure when you were driving a Formula One? And I said, well, not really, you know, from the fact that you need to provide results for yourself, because it is in the junior categories that if you don't win, you're out. In Formula One, you made your money, you've earned your living, you know, it's just that your pressure comes from the fact that there's many people that depend and will be looking at you from your team.
Yeah, we're right. Sujay and I have the same thing, right? You start a company, you have a lot of families depending on you. I mean, so I think I relate to that same feeling.
Yes.
So I'm new to this Formula One sport.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's gonna be my first Formula One, you know, and I hear there's a lot about this car, there's a lot of stuff going on. These tracks are different.
It's amazing the amount of things, that development that goes behind the scenes, you know, it's fantastic. This is the part of Formula One that really is incredible. There's all these people who are working for a reason, you know, and the main reason is that we are just making the car faster and faster every week. So there's a development program, and we just expect to make the car just X amount of milliseconds faster per race. And it's just incredible how the people, how hard they work just to achieve that extra speed, and that's measured with a stopwatch. And that's the beauty about our sport, is that the stopwatch is always never lies, and it's always you will always see how good or how bad your work was in 2 weeks' time, in the next Grand Prix, So it is very rewarding, the fact that you know exactly where you are, and we have to wait 2 more years, you know, for the results and the processes. But But what we need, you know, to make the car quick in Formula One is you need the team of people. This is the most important thing. I'm sure that in your business is exactly the same.
I tell you what, there's a lot of sales guys here. You know what, you guys are like Formula One drivers. Sales is a quota carrying, and there's a number, you make that number, you don't make that number every quarter. So I think everyone here in sales can relate to the make or break number.
Yeah, I think that is something in common. And then you need the processes, like Lawrence Stroll always says, and the tools. And we're in a process in Aston Martin Formula One where we are just getting the tools for our people, for our team, and we still don't have them. We've built a brand new factory in the UK. It is state of the art. It's fantastic. It's the most modern Formula One factory, which I shouldn't say factory, because when I say factory, the team says it's not a factory, it's a smart factory, it's, you know, it's a campus, and okay, well, I don't care, whatever it is, it's just fantastic. But there's still 2 more buildings being built as we speak, yeah, and one of them is the most important tool to make Formula One go faster, which is the wind tunnel. That's where really, you know, there is this hunger to making to getting extra downforce points every week. What is a downforce point? You know, it's basically the forces that push the car to the ground, to the asphalt. And the more you generate, the more vertical forces you are able to generate in a Formula One car, it means the car will go faster around the corners. And this seems easy, but as soon as you turn the car into a corner, you steer the wheels, there's a crosswind effect, there's the ride height effect, the bumps, the asphalt quality, everything makes a difference, and you just have to be the best in all the different ride heights, different type of corners and asphalt. So this is where we're fighting, and this is the challenge we're facing, is that we still don't have that wind tunnel finished, and it will be finished by the end of this year, 2024, and this will be critical because it's going to be the most modern wind tunnel in Formula One, which will give us the edge, and I think that is where we are now. We have a factory, yes. We have 750 people working under the same roof. This is fantastic because we had, you know, in Silverstone we have all type of groups, departments scattered around
Do the other teams have this wind tunnel? Is this standard that everyone's got to have?
Every team has one, but the thing is that this one will be the latest spec, you know, the most modern, with all your tools as well, and you know, so we can actually be more efficient. It's not only about quality data, and you know a lot about that, it's also about how efficient you can be, because in Formula One we have a budget cap nowadays. It's around $135 million you can spend on making the car, designing, manufacturing, and developing the car. But that's obviously you're capped as well on wind tunnel hours. So the more efficient you can make your wind tunnel, the more tests you can make during the week, and the faster you can make your car go.
Now repeat that again. How much can we spend on this car?
135 million US.
Everybody want to get in this game here. This is like,
so it is very funny now in our sport, because it isn't, when I got into Formula One, it was all about, if you went into a team with endless resources, it was every engineer was throwing ideas at what could make the car go faster. Now they're asking the engineers how much this idea would cost. And then the engineer is not comfortable with that question, because they're creative people, so it's difficult. But this is the modern Formula One. It's not only about having great ideas, it's about quantifying those ideas, you know, in terms of money.
You got to bet on your investments. You got to figure out which investment is going to get the biggest bang for its buck here.
Yes, exactly. So that's where we are, but it is fantastic. Bottom line is, though, Bob, is that you know, we can talk about money, wind tunnels, and but at the end of the day, you need to practice. You know, you need to practice a lot. You need to test. We have simulators running nearly virtually 24 hours in house. And I always say, you know, I used to read a phrase of Gary Player, you know, this super golf player, that he used to say, it's funny, but the more I practice, the luckier I get. And I think this is the reality in Formula One as well, is that it's about, you know, resources, teams, processes, tools, but there is also the habit of just the discipline of testing, because that's what really makes the difference in not only for the driver, but also in the strategy side, which is really critical. You know, the pit stops, all this teamwork just needs a lot of practice.
Yeah, so maybe the other there I can go a little bit. So I'm a chief AI officer, so I can't help but go a little bit into this data AI space a little bit. But so I also make a barrel of wine, and I usually tell people is that great wine starts with great grapes, great AI starts with great data. Now, in this racing game, there has to be I can imagine this my understanding is, you can't control the car from the internet or anything. The driver has to do everything.
Well,
but there's a ton of data flowing.
I have a couple of questions for you as well on that, because I'm quite worried, but I was talking with Fernando before, and we always say, looking at where AI is going, what's next, I mean, are the drivers going to be substituted by a self-driving vehicle? And so this is a question for you, actually. Well,
no, I've had this question. Why do I say, you guys have a driver's license? Save them. There is a day coming when these autonomous cars are going to be driving safer than humans. It will be illegal to drive eventually, someday. So make sure you get those driver's licenses. Yeah, I mean, what happens when the autonomous car is safer than humans? So there will be a day eventually we get to where the autonomous car. Now, when it comes to Formula One racing, I tried that simulator over there.
Yes.
I think we're a little ways away before we're going to see any autonomous cars, going out there around that track. What are we doing, 200? How fast are we going down these straightaways?
330 kph. I mean, I was checking the speeds just before coming here, and it's amazing how faster and faster this circuit has got, has developed. They have taken one chicane in 2022. Now it is a lot, the chicanes are wider, and so it's faster. So it is unreal the speed of this track. It's we shouldn't forget it's inside the city. It's it's not a fully permanent track, so the walls are also pretty close.
So I do think we're going to see autonomous cars. But when it comes to racing, they can build things now that can play Jeopardy, but people still like to watch humans do their sport. So I don't think you have any fear of seeing any autonomous car.
Yeah, but the question really for me is. Imagine that, eventually someone manages to build a self-driven Formula One car that is faster than Fernando Alonso.
I don't think people want that.
I don't want that. I mean, the whole drivers' union don't like that. But but if it happens, what?
But I think what you're going to find is
it possible?
It is possible. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You'll see people build cars eventually that are safer than humans. I think, could they make a car doing 300 miles an hour autonomously? I think the answer is probably yes. But I don't think people in society want to watch machines race machines. People still like human behavior. They want to see a human behind that wheel making decisions as fast as they can. So I would say, even though we're going to see that happen, and maybe we'll see autonomous car race things, people are going to want to still see you race. I can almost guarantee you that there's something in our nature we want to see other people doing things like racing. So I think you're safe. At least I think we're safe until we retire.
For my era, no? I mean, after that, you never know.
Well, you and the actors, right? The actors have a bigger concern probably before you have a concern.
We hope you're right.
Yeah. Now, the other question, since I'm new to this thing, this Melbourne track. So what is, for someone who's new to the sport, we're going to be out there tomorrow watching this. What are the highlights, when you look back over your racing career, what is the highlights I should be looking out for tomorrow?
Well, it is, I mean, I don't want to sound too boring, about data and stuff like that, but actually it's an interesting track because it has a very smooth asphalt. It has a very high track evolution because it's not used permanently. So from FP1, free practice session 1 to the end of the race, the track evolution is very high. We tend to run high downforce as well. There are 4 zones of DRS, which means that you open the wing and you gain speed around 15 kph every time you do that, which means that you can run a lot of downforce but still be very fast in the straights. But then if you choose that downforce setup, then for the race, you will be compromised in speed because you cannot open the DRS every lap in the race. You can in qualifying, but not in the race. So it is a bit of a compromise on downforce level, and it's a difficult track because
it's still one of the most dangerous.
And this is where you started your career? You started
Yeah,
your career?
this is my first race, but when I arrived here, obviously I had experience in other circuits, but I had never raced here before.
Your favorite track of all these tracks?
Favorite track is Suzuka. I mean, I have to, it's the next Grand Prix actually, in Japan. Why? It's just so fast, difficult, it's just it's a little mistake and you're on the wall, and it is like one of those classic circuits with gradient changes and a lot of history.
Okay.
If I have to, you know, and I raced in Japan 3 years, I lived in Japan 3 years, so maybe I'm a bit biased, you know, in the fact that I was there, and I got into Formula 1 because I went to live in Japan for 3 years. I raced in Formula 3, in GT, and also in Formula 3000, and I won the 3 championships, and that opened the door for me to get into Formula 1. So I'm a bit biased, but if you watch it on TV, I think that, I don't know, maybe you have a different opinion, you know, you have different track views, but Japan is one of the nicest, I would say. No disrespect for Australia, Melbourne, you know, it's you know, I don't get me wrong, you know, but I say the same. I'm Spanish, and I go to the Spanish Grand Prix, and I said, well, I prefer Suzuka to the Barcelona track. You know, I come from Barcelona, so the people are really pissed off with me. But
Okay,
I have to be honest.
I think we're getting, but this has been a true honor for me. I want everybody to just welcome Pedro. This is like.
Thank you.